Okay, so you want to own a casino. Buy a building, fill it with slot machines. Watch tourists hand you money all day, retire rich. Here's the part nobody tells you. The slot machines and the blackjack tables, the thing you think the casino sells, make up barely a quarter of what a modern casino actually earns. The casino, part of the casino, is almost a side business now. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how much it actually costs to build a casino at every level, from a tribal slot hall to a Las Vegas mega resort. Where the real money comes from and why it isn't the gaming floor anymore. The psychological architecture built into every square foot of the building. Why the industry's most profitable era on paper was also one of its worst years for actual profit, and what that says about the whole business. Casinos come in three sizes, and they're three completely different businesses. A small standalone casino, no hotel, no theme, just a gaming floor, costs somewhere between $2 million and $10 million to build, depending on size and location. For that money, you get a building full of slot machines, a few table games, a cashier's cage, and just enough carpet pattern to make people lose track of time. This is the regional casino, the riverboat, the small tribal hall. It's also where most of the open-your-own casino dream actually lives, because anything bigger than this stops being a small business decision and starts being a corporate one. A mid-tier casino resort, the kind with a few hundred hotel rooms and an actual food court, runs anywhere from $40 million to $150 million depending on how many stories you're building and how elaborate the gaming areas are. A two-story property with a modest hotel attached lands toward the lower end of that range. Add a third floor for banquet space, conference rooms, or a larger hotel tower, and costs climb toward $150 million fast. Gaming floor finishes alone can run $500 to $1,200 per square foot once you factor in the lighting, the custom flooring, and the acoustics designed to keep people from noticing how long they've been sitting there. Restaurants and bars inside the property add another $300,000 to $1.5 million per venue, depending on how upscale the operator wants the experience to feel. And then there's the top tier. Wynn Las Vegas cost roughly $2.7 billion to build. The Cosmopolitan came in around $3.9 billion. The Bellagio, opened in 1998 at $1.6 billion, would cost more than $2.7 billion in today's dollars. Resorts World Las Vegas, which opened in 2021, required an investment exceeding $4.3 billion. And Marina Bay Sands in Singapore, one of the most expensive casino resorts ever constructed, ran close to $5.9 billion. These aren't casinos anymore. They're small cities that happen to have a gaming license, properties with thousands of hotel rooms when the average American hotel has roughly 115 water and power bills that rival a mid-sized municipality, and an electrical infrastructure budget alone that can run $3 million to $15 million. The building is just the start. Here's the cost nobody warns you about. A single high-end slot machine can run $20,000 to $35,000, and a serious resort needs thousands of them. Even budgeting modestly, say $10,000 a unit for 100 slot cabinets, that's already $1 million spent before a single coin drops, and it won't give you any real edge over the property next door. A professional blackjack or roulette table runs $10,000 to $15,000 cheaper than the slots, but each one needs a dealer, a pit boss watching the dealer, and a surveillance system watching all of them. That security and technology layer alone can run anywhere from $1 million for a basic setup to over $10 million for the kind of system a major resort needs to satisfy regulators and protect itself from both cheaters and lawsuits. Then there's licensing, which most people budget for last and should budget for first. A Nevada gaming license runs roughly $770,000 on average, once every category of fee is included. Try to open in New York instead, and the American Gaming Association puts the initial licensing cost between $20 million and $50 million, before construction has even started. The building was never the hardest part of this business. The paperwork is. Now the question that actually matters, where does the money come from? Because here's the part that breaks people's assumptions. On the Las Vegas Strip, gaming revenue made up only about 26% of total casino revenue in the most recent fiscal year. That number has been below 50% for 27 consecutive years. The slot machines and the tables you picture when you think casino are now a minority of the income statement. So if it's not the gambling, where does the rest come from? Stream 1 is rooms. Strip hotel rooms alone generated about $7.1 billion in a recent year, and the modern resort is built to keep that room occupied at close to 90%. Not because hotel rooms are wildly profitable on their own, but because a guest sleeping upstairs is a guest who has to walk past everything else on the way out. Stream 2 is food, beverage, and entertainment. This is the category that quietly took over from gambling, restaurants, nightclubs, headline residencies, retail. It now makes up the largest single chunk of non-gaming revenue, and the margins on a $28 cocktail are dramatically better than the margins on a blackjack hand. Stream 3, the one most people miss entirely, is the float. A casino holds enormous amounts of cash and credit on its books at any given moment, chips bought but not cashed, markers extended to high rollers, deposits sitting in the cage. That cash sits there earning the house an edge before a single card is dealt. Stream 4 is the table game and slot hold itself, what's left of the obvious business. Table games on the Strip held about 9.6% of what was wagered in a recent year. Slot machines held around 8.3%. That's the actual margin on the thing people think the entire business runs on. Razor thin and shrinking as competition for attention spreads to every other part of the building. Baccarat alone has been the single biggest table game revenue generator on the Strip in recent years, almost entirely because of high-limit play from a small number of high rollers, a single category of game played by a tiny fraction of guests, propping up the whole table games column. Stream 5 is the comp system, and this is the one that ties everything else together. Free rooms, free drinks at the tables, free buffet vouchers, none of it is generosity. It's a pricing strategy disguised as hospitality. A casino can hand out a $300 hotel room for free because the marginal cost of an empty room is close to zero, and the data on attract players' average spend tells the casino almost exactly how much that free room is worth to keep that player at the tables an extra 6 hours. The drinks aren't free either, they're priced into the house edge on every hand. By the time a guest feels like they're being given something, the casino has already calculated what it's buying. Here's the architecture trick. There are no clocks on the gaming floor, no windows, and the path from the front door to your hotel room is never a straight line. It's built to route you past the machines, the bars, and the retail. The ceilings are kept artificially low over the gaming floor and rise dramatically over the high-end shops, a psychological signal that tells your body to relax in one zone and feel important in the other. None of this is accidental. It's tested, measured, and redesigned constantly. So with all these revenue streams, why is this one of the worst performing years for casino profitability in decades? 2 forces. Force 1, fixed costs are brutal and don't move with revenue. In the most recent fiscal year, the Las Vegas Strip posted near-record total revenue of $21.08 billion, and net income collapsed 81%, down to just $154.2 million. Labor costs, entertainment contracts, and maintenance on aging infrastructure all rose at the exact moment visitor spending softened. A casino can post record revenue and still nearly break even, because almost none of its costs flex downward. Force 2, the liability bomb, and this one is the reason every modern casino looks the way it does. On November 21, 1980, a fire broke out from faulty wiring in a deli on the casino floor of the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. There were no sprinklers on the gaming level. The fire raced across the casino floor in about 6 minutes, and toxic smoke traveled up through unsealed elevator shafts and seismic joints into the hotel tower above, killing 85 people and injuring roughly 700 more, the deadliest disaster in Nevada history. More than 1,300 lawsuits followed, and the settlement fund that resulted totaled $223 million, with MGM alone paying over $75 million of it. Every hotel taller than 55 feet in Nevada was retroactively required to install fire sprinklers. The entire modern fire code for high-rise hotels traces back to that single morning. Step back for a second. A casino is a paradox the same way a hospital is. It's one of the most heavily regulated, most surveilled, most insured businesses in the country, sitting on top of a gambling product with a margin so thin it barely shows up on the balance sheet anymore. And yet it remains one of the only businesses where a single afternoon, a single faulty wire, can wipe out decades of profit and reshape the laws of an entire state. 2 scenarios, real numbers. Scenario 1, a small standalone casino, $5 million to build, no hotel attached. Revenue is almost entirely gaming hold, and competition for that thin 8 to 10% margin is constant. In a good year, real profit after staffing, security, and licensing might clear a few $100,000. There's no room buffer, no food and beverage cushion, just the gaming floor, carrying the whole business on a margin that barely moves. Scenario 2, a scaled strip resort. Total revenue in the billions, gaming making up roughly a quarter of it, the rest split across rooms, food, entertainment, and retail. In a strong year, that diversification produces real net income. In a weak year, like the most recent one, the exact same revenue can produce a net income drop of over 80%, because the fixed costs of running a small city never go away, no matter what the visitor numbers do. In 1946, a mobster named Benjamin Bugsy Siegel took over construction of a half-finished hotel project in the Nevada desert called the Flamingo. The budget started at $1.5 million. By the time it opened that December, it had ballooned to $6 million, nearly $85 million today, and Siegel's mob financiers suspected he'd skimmed a chunk of the overage for himself. The casino opened to bad weather, no finished hotel rooms, and a casino floor that lost money in its first weeks before briefly shutting down entirely. 6 months later, on June 20, 1947, Siegel was shot dead through a window in Beverly Hills. Within minutes, his former partners walked into the Flamingo and took it over. Under new management, it became enormously profitable, and the blueprint Siegel never lived to see succeed became the model for the entire Las Vegas Strip. The casino business has never really changed since. Build something that looks like pure glamour on top of margins that thin, and somebody eventually pays for the gap between the two.